Hey guys, what's up? My name's Kay, and I usually post on Instagram, but some people ask me to do a YouTube channel, so I think I'm gonna go ahead and try and post some updates here with more detailed videos and a little bit of explaining what I'm doing and what I'm going to do. So in this first video, I'm going to make a quick overview and review of everything that I've done so far, and share with you my plans on a near future. So let's get into it. And this is what it's all about. It's a 69 Mercedes SEL 280. It used to have a 6-cylinder 3 liter 3.5 or whatever. So it's in pretty decent shape, and I've already, as you can see, I've already done some things to it, like a little roll cage, a little bit of cutting, and so this car is gonna have one special motor, and it's this. And again, please forgive me for a mess. I'm gonna clean it up and keep filming it in more clean environment, but I just wanted to show you what this is. As you can see, it has 6 exhaust ports on one side and it has 6 more on the other. So this is the V12 M275 V12. It came off of 2003 Mercedes S600, and it has 2 turbos. I mean, this one used to have when it was stock. So it's a V12 twin turbo 5.5 liter, and it makes around 500 horsepower in stock. And this guy right here, it's the stock bell housing from the automatic transmission that it came with. So Mercedes, they don't make manual transmissions that goes, that will fit this motor. So I decided, instead of being boring, I decided to take a really hard route. So this is the TR6060. This one in particular, it came off of probably 2013 Cadillac CTSV. And this is a big boy. This transmission can handle a lot of horsepower. And of course, the bell housing doesn't fit the motor that I'm using. So all the clutch and the flywheel and clutch plate and everything, so it's not gonna work. Therefore, I have ordered some stuff that I'm gonna be messing with. So the plan is to make that transmission work with that engine. And it's a 6-speed manual transmission. Eventually it's gonna have a sequential shifter. So this should be fun. And as of today, I made a tubular subframe, the front subframe that receives the stock steering rack off of Mercedes, the S600 Mercedes. So the reason I'm using it is I think that Mercedes did a pretty good job with the suspension geometry, which I don't want to mess with, because I assume that there were a lot of engineers paid big bucks to make the whole thing work, and some dude in his home garage probably won't get even close to that level of engineering. So I used the stock subframe, made a jig, and built my own tubular one. With that being said, I built it out of steel because I'm going to make eventually a tubular chassis that's gonna tie the front with the back. It's gonna go from there all the way to the back and link both of the subframes together. So this is gonna be just one unit, just one tubular chassis. And so the most important is to retain the position of the stock control arms, which I have right here. Obviously, I'm not gonna reuse those. That's why I started making my own using Heim joints instead of bushings. So I want everything to be stiff and, you know, responsive. I reused the ball joint seat here. So this is the lower control arm, which is gonna have the shock mount. And by the way, I'm not gonna use the shocks the way they used to go. So I'm gonna go ahead and try to make a cantilever suspension, which, you know, has more adjustability and, you know, gives you more opportunities for the adjustments and, you know, to play around with the suspension and so on. And it just looks cool. Another reason I wanted to use the Mercedes, the stock suspension as a mock-up, oops, to start with, is so I could use the stock Mercedes hubs with the whole spindle, and I can use AMG big brakes. You know, I wanted to keep as much Mercedes as possible. So we're having the Mercedes chassis, the body, we have Mercedes engine, we have Mercedes suspension. So it's got to be, you know, I wanted to keep it as much Mercedes as I can. Well, I mean, it's hard to tell now, but anyway. So this is how I make the subframes. So this is the jig I made off of that rear subframe. As you can see, it's ugly and heavy. It's really, really heavy. So I'm not gonna reuse that despite it being steel, and I could integrate it into the frame, but you know, the front subframe used to be is aluminum, so obviously I cannot weld aluminum to steel, but this one is made of steel, but I want the rear one match the front one, so everything's got to be in one style and design. So I started building the subframe using this jig, so you can see all the necessary points. The suspension mounting points are here, and just one by one I make these tabs. As you can see, they just hang in the air. Now my goal is to link them together and then tie them into the subframe itself. So this is the rear differential front mount. Those are the rear mounts. So I'm gonna use the stock, for now, the stock S600 rear differential. Well, and you can see it's not small either. So this thing is huge. So this is the whole rear suspension. I'm going to eventually remake the control arms so I could make them adjustable, so I can play around with. But the goal is to keep the suspension geometry as close to stock as possible, and I want to reuse the rear differential with the axles and, you know, the brakes and everything. So I mean, obviously I'm going to replace these old rusted out brakes to new ones, but you got the idea. So speaking about the engine, right, this is the twin turbo V12. I'm going to eventually rebuild it with either brand new stock internals or with the forged ones, the rods and pistons. I'm gonna see if I'll have a budget for that later on, but eventually the intake, as you can see, it's a really small intake for such a huge engine. You see, this is the intake itself, so it's probably around 3 inches in diameter. So I don't think this is enough, so I'm going to be remaking the intake. I don't like how the valve covers look, and you know, some small stuff. I'm gonna be working on that too. So this is not some quick swap project like that you could do on on one weekend, you know, in your home garage, despite this is my home garage. But I decided to go ahead and go all crazy about this thing. And another thing that I'm thinking about, which probably gonna end up happening, is, as you can see, the main hoop of the roll cage sits far from this post. And the reason for that is that the seat, I wanted to place the seat as far back as I can, not just for the leg room and for the, you know, so I could push the engine back as much as I can for the weight distribution. And now it ended up here. So I will probably gonna relocate this pillar back to match this part, which would mean I'm gonna get rid of the rear door. So this is gonna become coupe, the 2-door instead of 4-door sedan. You know, who needs 4 doors when you have a twin turbo V12 with the manual transmission and a roll cage, right? So being this old, obviously this thing has some problematic spots like these right here. I'm gonna fix all the rust later on once I'm done with all the structural stuff. And the reason for that is you don't wanna mess with the structure until you've built a different one. So you don't want to cut any of the metal on the car unless you have something to hold it together. Like right now it sits on those on the frame table right there. It's all tacked, so it doesn't move much. So right now I'm waiting on some parts to machine the casings for the ball joints, and I'm gonna finish the front suspension. Once I'm done with that, I'll have the opportunity to assemble it on together, put the test wheel on it, and locate the wheel in the wheel well. It doesn't have to be precise because I don't like this shape anyway. As you can see, it's not round. It's like gives it that classic look. And obviously the wheelbase of the S600 is much wider than this car. So the white body it is. Well, we're gonna get there later, but this is all that I have right now for you guys. So thank you very much for staying with me, and if you want to know what's gonna happen next, please follow, share, and subscribe. I'm very grateful for all the comments that you're gonna leave, all the shares and subscribes. This is gonna help me a lot and motivate me for filming more videos. And please find me on Instagram, which I'm mainly updating. So thank you very much, and see you next time. Take care.